This video is not intended for anyone 13 or younger. Hello viewers and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter reaction. I'm your humble host Josh24214 and today we are going to be tackling chapter 290. And we're just 10 away from getting 300 chapters done by Horikoshi. And yeah, and yeah, Uh, to the what happened to the previous chapter, we had the wrap up of the fight between Uraraka and Toga in the debate of if there are some good heroes in the world or there's just mostly more bad heroes, like people like Hawks. And we have the sudden arrival of Giga and the rest of the League of Villains finally coming to Shigaraki's aid. And what kind of crazy stuff is going to happen when these two groups collide? So let's dive in and find out with My Hero Academia Chapter 290. And before I begin, remember to wash those hands and make sure you don't have any parties. Seriously, guys, just don't take any don't have any huge parties, okay? We need to keep the count low. So let's dive into the chapter. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. So, before we begin the chapter, we usually go through the chapter. On the first page, we get our chapter number, and we have My Hero Academia, written by Horikoshi, as always, and as always, throughout the rest until the end of time, we have the translation by Cabal Cook and learning by John, as always, but it's been reduced to JB because of spacing issues for this first page. And the title is illustriously called for My Hero Academia chapter number 290, which is Dobby's Dance. And there is a good reason why. But that's so. Let us begin. As we strangely not continue where we last left off, we strangely come back to a familiar hospital at Fujini Hospital with with one of the patient staffs running towards a particular room at room 13, with the doctors and nurses calling, saying, "Kill the TV in room 315, hurry! She's been making so much progress towards her release, but now this? Talk about terrible timing," as the doctors head to the mysterious room 315. As we get the TV, we find out who lives in room 315 at this particular hospital. As we see, it's Mrs. Todoroki, Shoto's mother, who's been recovering ever since the incident with Endeavor, as we've seen her multiple times throughout the series. As we get the TV audio kicking in saying, "Cannot get any closer, hard to make out from this distance." As we go to the next page, the TV suddenly interrupts with, "What's this? Our signal." As we see Mrs. Todoroki sees what's on the TV, and on the last panel, page 2, we see an oh so familiar that Dobby has taken over the TV waves, and we do not know why he's doing this right now. So this could have happened in the past or just happening just now. But we will have to come back to that eventually. So on the next page, we go back to where we last left off with Giga finally reaching Shigaraki with Giga saying, "Master," with everybody freaking out saying, "Ah!" As we see Shigaraki in using the activation quirk tendrils as a makeshift pair of legs and hands, going full Auto Octavius, turning around to see Giga with All for One still inside his head, saying in his head, "Superb timing, Giga." As we get a huge blob attacks while All for One is doing all the talking, with Shigaraki pointing towards Giga, with All for One saying, after a one for all beating from Izuku Midoriya and a roasting from Endeavor, Tomura's body could fail at any moment. Having rivet stab activate from his spinal cord with auto trucking reduces the burden placed on his body and mind. Such measures are necessary, given this body's wretched state. Now, Giga must be ordered to retreat. As we continue with the next page, we continue on the next page as Shigaraki gets rudely interrupted by Shoto Todoroki being super pissed, conjuring a giant piece of ice, and he's just getting ready to punch Shigaraki in the face, with Shoto continuing in his inner monologue. I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be Shoto's inner monologue saying, "There's no way we can handle fighting both that giant and Shigaraki. I better take Shigaraki down since he's already on his last legs." As we get, and Shoto is not alone, he's getting help from Nejire as she gets ready to use her attacks, as in and All for One continues while we cut back to Shigaraki saying, "So strong, surge, and half cold, half hot. They refuse to give our broken body the slightest reprieve." As we see on the next page, we have Nejire and Shoto getting ready for their attacks, with Nejire unleashing output level 100%, and Shoto using Flash Fire Fist as they make a new combo attack, Nejire Flood and Jet Kindling. As we get Endeavor just saying, "Run!" in his battered, bruised state. As on the next page, we get a bit of a double page spread of Giga just interrupting the attack and just basically swatting Nejire and Shoto out of the way while grabbing Shigaraki on one of Giga's fingers. As we see the broken tendrils break off while Giga's trying to grab Shigaraki. And this is such good artwork from Horikoshi as always. As we see a giant thud from Shoto after getting swatted by Giga, and we have Nejire just is super okay. She can fly, so she's okay. She can easily dodge it. As we cut to Ida saying, "Nejire, Shoto," as Bakugo interrupts, finally waking up, saying, "Put me down, you armored four eyes." As we get, I think, Ida continuing saying, "You're conscious, but take it easy. Your vitals have been hit." As Bakugo interrupts, saying, "Gotta achieve absolute victory." Yeah, Shigaraki's on his last legs. As we cut to the next page, we see Giga finally starting to change back to normal, like a transformer. As we get Giga continuing saying, "Hoof, hoof, master, I've come. Your will is my command, so give me an order." As we get Spinner coming over Giga's shoulder, with Spinner saying, "Shigaraki, you're not looking so hot." As we quickly cut away to Endeavor, with him saying, "You okay, Shoto?" As we continue with while Endeavor's huffing and puffing, we get into, for the next 3 panels of the page, we get Endeavor's in a monologue saying, "Sorry, Hawks. It's my fault that the giant is up and about. I need to take him down. What are his abilities? Got to figure them out and strike back. But one of my lungs is shot. How hard can I even hit when every breath I take is agony? As we get a reminder of Endeavor's inauguration as the number one hero, he reminds us saying, "Just watch me. I just have to do it." As we get Endeavor with a nice good shot with Endeavor being the smallest up against Giga, who's basically a giant. With Endeavor saying, "After all, I'm this nation's top hero, right?" But before that battle between Giga and Endeavor is rudely interrupted, we have Dobby, who's acting a little different than always. "Oh, there you are. You all look like ants from way up here. Oh, do I spy Shoto too? That's perfect." As Shoto realizes, saying, "Huh?" And Endeavor realizes who's talking, saying, "Dobby." And now we have Endeavor's inner monologue saying, "Now we got the whole league to deal with as well." But we haven't seen Toga coming back yet, so she hasn't come back yet from her fight with Ochiko yet. But strangely enough, Dobby pulls out some kind of liquid or something, water or something, and we have Dobby continuing again. "Ouch! Is that any way to address me?" As we see Dobby spraying water all over his head. As we see on the next page, on page 10, we get a very... before I continue with this is a big spoiler. If anime fans are watching this, do not continue until this point, until this is adapted into the anime. Or unless you don't care about that, then just do that and wait until the anime comes in. Because this is a big shock of a... On the next page, on page 10, we got a basically 2/3 of the page covering Dobby, with him basically saying, I have a great name," as we see in the next 3 words, as we see Dobby's hair has turned white. So basically his black hair was dyed, as we see his real hair color is white. White as snow, with Dobby proclaiming, "Call me Toya." As we know now, Dobby is actually Shoto's oldest brother, Toya Todoroki, the last Todoroki, and the entire internet freaking explodes because the Dobby is Toya theory has finally been confirmed, and let's just get nuts that everybody who called this was correct. And it took 5 fucking years, Horikoshi, 5 years since we had Dobby's real name kept a secret, and 5 years that people were calling Dobby the last Todoroki all this time, and we had Horikoshi teasing for 5 years just once to... He doesn't want to give the fans the dedication they deserve, and all the fanboys went nuts. Even I went nuts when I read this chapter on Sunday. So yeah, I went freaking nuts when this happened. So yeah. 5 years. Horikoshi, was it worth 5 years the wait? I guess it's up to the fans to decide that. As we get Endeavor, Shoto, and even Midoriya shocked of this huge revelation that's been played out for 5 years, with Dobby continuing saying, "I'm still just gonna call Dobby Dobby at this point, because we're so used to it. I'm not gonna say Toya for the rest of the series. I'm just gonna keep calling Dobby for now on. But you guys can tell me in the comments, should I change it to Dobby from Dobby to Toya from now on, or did you always like me doing it with Dobby? So Dobby continues his long revelation saying, "You're that dumbstruck, really? I know my face ain't exactly what it was, but I was sure my own kin would have figured it out." When Midoriya interrupts saying, "Huh?" in his inner monologue. As we get a flashback to Midoriya, Bakugo, and Shoto's dinner with the Shoto household, with Midoriya reminded, "Your older brother? Toya? That's Todoroki's? That's Shoto's." As we quickly cut back to the hospital, as we get more realizing in what Dobby's little thing is, as he continues a huge narration for Dobby, saying, "I am Toya Todoroki, the eldest son of Endeavor. Today, I have killed over 30 innocent people in cold blood," as we see Mrs. Todoroki knowing this, and she's going to be fucking broken at the end of this arc. I don't see her mind get even better after this. As Dobby continues saying, while on the video, saying, "And today, I'd like everyone to know exactly what drove me to such despicable acts." As we continue on page 12, for page 12 and page 13, we get a double page spread. As we see, first panel, we see the destruction that Giga went through. "Once upon a time," and this is Dobby continuing saying, "once upon a time, Endeavor yearned for nothing but power. But when he found himself unable to surpass All Might, he he despaired. To conduct even stronger quirks, my father forced the woman who would become my mother to marry him." As we see more of the carnage continuing. And on the next panel, we see random civilians getting people out of the rubble who survived from the carnage of Giga, with a few people who actually got crushed in the rubble, with a little girl crying that one of her parents is dead. With Dobby continuing saying, "That's when my father created me, in pursuit of his selfish, egotistical dreams. But alas, I was a failed creation." As we quickly cut away to Endeavor's #1 fan who say, "Can't you see?" and being basically become an internet meme at this point. With Dobby continuing saying, "It didn't take long for him to reject me. I was tossed aside, forgotten." As we see Endeavor's shocked look as this continues saying, "But I never forgot a thing. And I had plenty of reason to keep watching you." As we have Shoto's shocked look as well, with Dobby continuing saying, "I'm not saying that everyone has to be pure and selfless. Just you. These murderous flames of mine are Endeavor's flames." As we continue to the next page, and we get an explanation of what's going on with the video, with Dobby continuing saying, "And guess what? Right now, my pre-recorded life story is broadcasting nationwide and on the net." And we have skeptics still on the computer saying, "Quite the ace up his sleeve." And yeah, Dobby's message is already coming out. So this could have happened like 35 minutes ago. So basically, Dobby went full Ozymandias from Watchmen.
"I did it 35 minutes ago."
So yeah, Endeavor's dirty little secret is gonna get out, and a lot of people are not gonna be happy. But now we have Dobby dancing, hence the title, with Dobby dancing, basically going the full Joker look, Joker dancing scene. As Dobby continues saying, "How could I make you hurt? How to best stomp all over your life? I've been pondering all this ever since that day. Man, I'm making a blast. Sorry, where was I? As we get back into Dobby's backstory, as we get a younger Dobby all on the floor, basically going through the same thing that Shoto went through, with Dobby continuing saying, I couldn't figure out why I even existed, and every day I crawled to Natsu, crying my eyes out. Not that you ever knew, right? When you finally achieved success with your little puppet Shoto, I thought killing him might do the trick, but then who would have guessed? You got bumped up to number 1 suddenly. I was rooting for rooting for your happiness. As we see on the next page, Dobby is still dancing with Shoto and Endeavor still shocked as ever, with Dobby continuing most of the text for the rest of the chapter saying, My blood ran cold when I thought you might bite the big one in Katsuyu. Going back to Endeavor versus High End. And then Dobby continues saying, Then I led Star Servant and Ending straight to you, one after the other. And that would make logical sense because Star Servant and Ending with the two villains that we saw during Midoriya, Bakugo's, and Shoto's training with Endeavor, and Dobby's just saying, "Hey, you two, go kill Endeavor for me." But they both failed, and Endeavor was able to beat them, and it would make sense for Dobby to do that because he really despises Endeavor. And Dobby still continues saying, You were finally number 1. It's all you ever wanted, but it must have weighed on you, right? Or was all the praise and administration like chicken soup for your soul? When at long last you could stare your kids in the eye, did you finally start to feel the warm and fuzzy bonds of family? You must have thought as long as I face the future, I can be better. I can tell you're at a loss for words. So here's the answer. As we see on the next page, we get a full page spread. We have a full page spread of Dobby just proclaiming, saying, "The past never dies." As for the rest of the chapter, we have Endeavor and Shota, and we get a lot more detail of Endeavor without his fiery beard. And we get like little touches of Endeavor's actual beard, so that's actually nice. Bit of detail with Dobby finishing up the chapter saying, "Get it yet? You reap what you sow. So let's tango. You and me, Endeavor, NG Todoroki. A dance with your son here in hell." As we see, the next chapter would come out on November 15th, and that's tomorrow. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter, and woohoo! We finally get it, Dobby's real name being Toya Todoroki. So yeah, that's a lot to get into, and yeah, I don't see Endeavor coming out of this okay, and Mrs. Todoroki surviving as well with that big shock. Her mind's probably going to be even more broken and busted, or suffering a mental breakdown with the whole Toya still alive deal. And I think Endeavor's fans are not they are not going to be fans of Endeavor forever with that little dirty secret coming out and all the abuse that Endeavor used to do. But you may never know. People may buy this as a lie or maybe not. But until then, I will see you all in chapter 291 with how this is going to continue So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you on the very next chapter. So, bye for now.